Hey, what is going on, everyone out there? I'm Jakejames Lugo. Welcome to the channel and welcome to a brand new episode of JJ's First 20. We are going to be taking a look at the PlayStation 5. Finally, I actually was able to get a console. I actually did the whole unboxing video not too long ago as well. Now, even though I know this is kind of late, because like I said in my previous video when I was unboxing the console from the box itself, I do know that this is late, but this is going to be my look and my walkthrough of the PS5, giving my impressions and my just overall perspective about this console. So we're going to kind of go into it here. This is or at least my first walkthrough of this thing. And to be totally honest with you, I like the cleaner, I like the more smoother, and I like the more kind of, touched up dashboard, or basically the home screen of PlayStation 5. Comparing it to the PlayStation 4, which is like the easiest and most relevant comparison we can do, things just feel a lot more cleaner. Things feel a lot more smooth, a lot more chill. It's got a better, different vibe to it, even though it's still in line with the Sony brand or the PlayStation brand overall. Now, as you can see here, I do have a couple games installed to the console, which I did get in within that first day or so when I had it here. Once I set up everything with my PSN and I was able to kind of see what, navigate my way around it, I did install a couple games, some of which, okay, with the exception of maybe one that I have on here, have their PS5 upgrades. If you didn't already know, if you were, if you don't own a PS5 or you're not part of the Sony ecosystem, you have some games that allow you to get a free version of of that game on PlayStation 5 if you own the PS4 digital or physical release. So, for example, Sackboy is one of them. Crash Bandicoot 4. And of course, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which for me personally was the first game that I did play on this PS5. I was a huge fan of Spider-Man Miles Morales. You guys know I've done a video about this. I did it talking about the Puerto Rican culture and some of the other aspects of that game. And this was one of the first big games that people wanted to play on PS5, and we'll get into it in just a bit, but you could tell the difference between PS4 and PS5 versions. But that's a big thing for people that do own a PS5 and have a lot of games on their previous PlayStation consoles, especially PS4. You're able to get that free version of the game, which is not necessarily free because you already paid for it or you already obtained it. But it's still something that you can't kind of pass up. It's more games to install on your console, especially ones that you want to go back to or you just want to see what's changed or if they got new content and stuff. Now, some of the other things I will explore here. Let's go to the PlayStation Plus tab because I think this is pretty neat. This is a much more cleaner, a much more nicer, and more well-presented PlayStation Plus tab, because this not only changes up the different games that get offered every single month, which the big one for this month is Final Fantasy VII Remake, which we'll get to in just a second, as well as also Destruction All-Stars and The Remnant, which Remnant is a PS4 game, but still the PS5 games are these three right here: Maquette, Destruction All-Stars, and Final Fantasy VII Remake. But I love the layout of this PlayStation Plus tab. Again, you just get all the games put out in front of you on the top here. Then you have what's called the PlayStation Plus collection. This is a big thing for PS5, right? Because this allows you to get games that were on PS5 that were big hits. If you have a PS Plus subscription, you could download any of these games right now and just play it on your PS5, which is very cool because for people that probably skipped out on a few games, for me, I never got a chance to play Resident Evil 7, which I'm going to download and play eventually on my own, probably away from YouTube and stuff. But there's games that are probably be on here that some people may have not played. Days Gone is another one for me, which I've been dying to play for a while because I've heard so much about it. Don't get me wrong. Let's be honest here. This isn't a huge selection. This is not a big selection of games that, that are really kind of rivaling anything of Games Pass that's on Microsoft's console, the Xbox Series X. But this is cool to know that you do have access to these games just by being a PS Plus subscriber on PS5. And again, these are mostly PS4 games. But I do foresee in the future at some point maybe getting PS5 games added onto this list here for the PS Plus collection. Not necessarily the free games that you get to download as a PS Plus subscriber. These games will always be here. As far as I know, these games are never going to be taken out. And I know there's going to probably be more games added on here eventually at some point. But it's still nice to have that option. You know what I'm saying? I think it's something that's actually pretty cool. And most of these are big PlayStation 4 classics. So Days Gone, I mentioned, Detroit Become Human, Bloodborne, The Last of Us, Last Guardian, Infamous Second Son. There's a lot in here. The original, God of War 4. I'm surprised God of War 3 Remastered's not on here. But again, that's just another game but more potential to add more games to this collection of stuff. Now, We even have Final Fantasy 15 Royal Edition, which I think is crazy. But anyway, let's move on to some of the other stuff. Now, obviously, there's other tabs that allow you different things to buy stuff. But let's go to the My Games tab, which is my game library. And this is cool because I get to show you guys more of the games that I own. But I love how organized this is. You got your collection, okay? You got your installed, you got your PlayStation Plus games, and you got your PS Now section. Now for collection, I love how I could just organize everything. I could filter by different platforms. So the games that are on PS4 that do have PS5 versions, I could highlight them on here and they're on here. And it's even games that aren't necessarily installed on my console, but are games that do have PS5 versions I could just download if I want to, because I own those games already. I already own the digital version. So Mortal Kombat 11, I'm probably going to do that at some point. Hitman 3. There's a couple in here that, for example, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, that you have to pay, I think it's like a $10 additional fee in order to get the PS5 version, which I think is ridiculous. I think it's stupid. But it is still there, and it shows up for you when you need it. But if I go and I filter out just all my games, and I've just put like PS4, you'll be able to see all the games I could just install on here that are PS4 games. So all my digital download games, all my games I got from PS Plus, there's a lot on here. And again, you guys can see I got like Squadrons, Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and there's so much more on here. Now, most of these games, if not all of them, can be played on a PS5, okay, even though they are PS4 games. The only ones that aren't on here, like for example, we're looking at Marvel's Avengers. This is the demo, the beta that came out for Marvel's Avengers. You obviously won't be able to download stuff like that. But there's very few other games that I could think of that I've come across that I can't play that are full games. Like again, that's the Resident Evil 3 demo that was on here. But most of these other games that are all PS4, I could play on my PS5, which is great. Now, speaking of which, I do want to touch on something that's actually very freaking cool. Because of the thing that I mentioned before, going from the PS4 version to the PS5 version, the free upgrade, if you have a physical copy of a game, okay, which I'm going to show you guys here. Live on cam, which I've already done it, but just to show you, I own the physical copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I was able to install it on my PS5. Now, this is going to change later on. I believe it's June 10th. At the time I'm making this video, it's much earlier than June 10th. But like when June 10th rolls around, my copy of Final Fantasy VII Remake will be able to change into Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, which is the PS5 version of that game where I'll be able to download for free, or not download for free, but I'll be able to get the DLC, which is the extra Intergrade DLC with Yuffie and stuff. But the base game itself is going to turn to the PS5 version, which is awesome. Because I already own it. I own a physical thing. But what I could do with any one of my PS5 game or PS4 games, I could put that disc into my console, and if it has a PS5 version already like on the store and stuff, I could just download the updates for that, and whenever I put that disc in, that's a PS4 version, I'm already playing the PS5 version. I like that because it's something simple. I mean, granted, there's a couple steps you got to go through to get everything, but it's just simple. Like if I already own a disc copy of that game, I could just put it in here and I'm good to go, which I think is fantastic. Even though, again, the PS5 version for Intergrade for Final Fantasy VII Remake is not out yet, I still have already the base game on PS4 installed onto my console, so I could still play it if I wanted to. But I'm still able to at least get that stuff when it's available. But let's go back to my collection here. A couple other games I could think of that I could actually do something like that as far as disc games if I'm like scrolling through, because I'm not even trying to look at my collection back there, but like there's just like different games on here that I could do the same thing if I have them. Like Horizon Zero Dawn's one of them. God of War obviously is one of them. What is it? You know what? Which one is on here? I'm trying to see. The Witcher 3. That was the one I was just thinking of. The Witcher 3 is another one that's going to get a free update for PS5 to get a PS5 version of that game. And even though it's not out yet, I still have the disc. I can still install it on here and be ready to roll when that update goes out, which is really cool. So to go back all the way up, okay, we could go to the other tabs. Again, we already looked at My Collection. We looked at Installed. This is the PlayStation Plus section, which is the same thing as the PS Plus tab on the other spot. Then you go to PS Now, which I personally do not use PS Now all that much, but there are options in here, for having PS Now. Now, PS Now is a totally different thing, separate from PlayStation Plus, but it is available for people that already play like most of these games or games that they like to stream and stuff. It's not really my thing, but again, more options is always a great thing to have, at least when it's available to you. So let's go now to the media section, which there's not really much to do. I'm not going to start up any of these media things, but there are a bunch of options here that are available that you could download. which again, you got like Disney Plus, Netflix, Hulu, Prime Video, Twitch, Apple TV, Pluto, etc., ESPN, like all the different things you could think of that are streaming services, you could get on PlayStation 5, which is fine. Personally, for me, I probably would not use these on my PS5 as much. Maybe once in a blue moon if I put like Netflix or something, or maybe Disney Plus to watch like Falcon and Winter Soldier once in a blue moon, or HBO Max. But I'm going to use most of my other devices like my tablet or my PC to do stuff like that, even though it is nice to have it on a TV screen. So there's really not much to say on the media section there. You could play music as well. Okay, no, that's the app library. But you could play music as well, I believe. Is it TV video? Or it's like another spot where they have a section for music, but let's go back to the game section. Let's go now to the other thing, using the DualSense controller, okay? Hitting the PlayStation button, which, here's the little music section here. Where if I wanted to play stuff from Spotify, I'm able to do so. But I love this little extra tab. I don't have to hold the PlayStation button on the DualSense controller, which is right about here. I don't have to hold it. I could just hit it once, and it brings up that tab on the screen here, which is cool. I got my game base, which is like all my friends list, my communities and stuff, my accessories, my PlayStation account name, my notifications, and all these other different things, which is nice. I could mute my mic or tinker with my settings. I like that stuff, and obviously the power settings. And it does show up new stuff here and there. I'm curious to know if I play more games, if that's going to actually show up with more stuff. I'm not so certain, but hey, either way, I'm still good with what we have here. Let me just fix my little thing here as I'm talking to you guys. Okay, there we go. So anyway, let's actually boot up some games. Let's actually boot up Miles, or actually, no, let's boot up Crash Bandicoot. I'm feeling Crash Bandicoot right now. Let's go with some Crash Bandicoot. Now, this is the PS5 upgraded version of Crash Bandicoot 4, just to show you guys how nice it is, how smooth it is with the loading. I will tell you, they were not lying when it came to how good the loading is with PlayStation 5. I was very, very surprised. Like, I knew about it because from everybody talking about it, being shown it on YouTube and stuff. However, I will say, like, when you're actually seeing it and you're playing a game, it feels so good. It's hard to go back to some of the PS4 versions of these games and then have to wait like a couple extra, like 5-10 seconds. Granted, it's not a whole lot of time, but like when you have the ability, like things are almost instantaneous, it's like it feels really good. Like, look at that. That loading screen that just happened right now on PS4 would have been much longer. Just trying to load up the game or get your save data and stuff. Let's just go in here. Like, look at this. Like, it's really not. Look, it feels so good. It feels so freaking good. Let's just go into like the first stage of Crash Bandicoot just to show y'all. Okay, because even though I got the gems and I still have to play more of this version of it, let's just show you guys here. Just play the level. Let's go right into this. How quick it is. Rude Awakening. Look at that. It would have been there so much longer on PlayStation 4, which is cool. We're going to skip this. Okay, here we go. And just look at how good this looks. Granted, this is still a cartoony game. It still looks really, really nice. We're going to go Crash Bandicoot right there. Nice. But it looks smooth. It looks great. Looks chill. I just love it. Again, it's running at, I believe, a 60 frames a second frame rate, which is nice. Just looking at it now, because I'm pretty sure, I think it's on PS4, it's 30 frames, but either way, you could tell, you could visually see the difference here. Whoops, almost got messed up there. And I just like it. I just think it's really good, man. And you're going to notice that when we get, in a second, we're going to go to Spider-Man Miles Morales, which is one that I think benefits the most, or a game that I've seen so far that's benefited the most from the upgrade from PS4 to PS5. It just, with the larger city and everything else, it just feels so good. So we'll probably go a little bit longer, just showing y'all the gameplay here. And then we'll go over to Spider-Man Miles Morales, which I think I still have to play a little bit further of it. I didn't really get further into the PS5 version. One of the things if there's anything I can say that's a little bit of a bummer, is that I did download my PS4 save data for Spider-Man Miles Morales, but instead of it being the data that I'm able to go straight from my console, I have to actually upload it from the PS4 version of Miles Morales in order to do the cross save, which I think is a little bit of an extra step because I deleted the PS4 version of Miles Morales on my console, thinking I would be all good if I just had the save data on my console locally, but apparently that's not the case, and I was like, okay, it is what it is, but it's like an extra step you have to do. You have to make sure that you have it where You got a hidden gem, nice. I already have the hidden gem anyway, but still. But it's just an extra step, which I feel like I wish that it was just where if you have the data on the console, you should be able to like at least transfer it to your PS5 version. I'm like skipping, obviously. I get invisibility and I go right into a pit. That's my genius. So let me show you guys also closing out a game. So closing out a game, you have like obviously all your trophies and different stuff that pops up, little things, and you obviously have the watch play, which allows the game to play itself and then kind of like jump in and out, which is really cool. I haven't used that feature because I really haven't found a need for it yet, but it's still pretty cool. But I could go to the switcher here. I could actually click on, click on there. And I could actually close the game out, or I could just like suspend it if I wanted to. Here, like as a matter of fact, let's go back to the home screen. Whoops. Let's go back to the home screen, suspend the game, go over to Spider-Man Miles Morales. And we could do this all in real time. Look at that Spider-Man Miles Morales picture. It looks so good, son. It looks so good, B. But yeah. Here we go. And look, it's already booted up. Like, this would have taken much longer on PS4. It just feels good. And luckily, I'm gonna go to my save data here, which again, I just only started because on this here, it's not completed on this console. We could also change the performances stuff with the different graphics settings here on PS5, which you got fidelity, performance RT. You could run it at 60 frames per second. This is 60 frames per second mode without graphical features, stuff like that. Okay, no, I'm gonna keep it at performance RT, which I believe, because fidelity is the 4K resolution, but it's 30 frames. No, we want that 60 frames, son. We want that 60 frames per second. Okay, so let's continue. And you guys are going to see how gorgeous this city is, man. Look at this. Here we go. Look at this. Smooth 60 frames per second, son. Oh, let's go. We're already in the middle of the action. This is like at the very start of the game. This we're chasing Rhino. So there's no spoilers here, so don't worry. Like, it's not like you're going to be losing out on like a surprise or anything. Whoops. Screw that one up. Let's go this way. There we go. Catch up to him. But look how smooth this looks. Like, seeing this for the first time, I was like, oh my god, this looks so much better. It looks so good, son. Everything, like, the city is populated. The lighting is dynamic. It's so gorgeous, man. I mean, obviously, when I get to the section where when you get to, like, really roam around the city, it's really going to be awesome. I'm going to play a little bit more of it at some point, like, off camera, and it just looks great, man. It's freaking fantastic. Like, look at this. Oh, Jesus. A steer rhino. Oh, my God. Steer him away from the obstacles, son. Ah! Yes! Let's steer around. Like, on my screen, like, I'm looking at my computer. My computer's not doing it justice. I'll tell you right now. It's actually skipping a little bit because of OBS. But, like, I'm looking at it now on my console, and it looks freaking fantastic. I wish that... Again, I definitely got to get a better PC at some point. And just show it. Like, again, it's, like, stuttering a little bit on my console. Oh, not my console, on my PC. Oh, yes. Got him. Smack him up, Miles. There you go. Web him up. This section feels so good. Yo, were those Beats headsets? You saw that? They look like Beats headsets. Rhino Rodeo. And obviously also I should mention, this is something that I didn't realize, that these games on PS5 count as separate games for with a separate trophy list. So if you have already the PS4 version, if you platinum Spider-Man Miles Morales, you can do it again on PS5 and get a whole separate trophy list. Yes, JJ. Look at that, we're back in the city. It looks so good, man. I love it. It looks freaking awesome. So we'll go a little bit further with this, and then let me switch back over to another game, which I believe I'll show you guys Destruction All-Stars just briefly, because that's another game I haven't really messed with. And it's so cool. So let's do that. As a matter of fact, let's do that. Let's stop it. Let's go back to the home screen. So we got both games here suspended. Let's go one more. As a matter of fact, no, let's go to our man Sackboy. It's been a minute since we've seen Sackboy, because we all love Sackboy out here. A little PlayStation cuddliness. Sackboy, the Big Adventure. Which is basically like Super Mario 3D World in some ways, but still, it's Sackboy. He's more fluffy. than Mario. But as you can see here, now we've already had like suspended 3 games, or 2 games on top of a third one opening up now, which is very cool. And it runs smoothly, it runs good. Games look great. Okay, can I skip all this? Sumo Sheffield. Yeah. Now, other things I haven't mentioned yet, which not really much to show when I use them. Okay, there we go. Not my game like that. There's really not much to share as far as the share feature, the share button on the DualSense controller. I haven't really used the DualSense like features like crazy on any games as of yet, other than the vibration and just like how good the controller feels to use for different games. But there's no like, you know, special things. I haven't messed around with it. Like I haven't done the Astro Bot stuff. Hasn't really been that bad. Again, look at these 60 frames per second, son. It looks so good. It looks so smooth. Look, Sackboy's happy about it. He's happy you're playing it on PlayStation 5. Can I skip this? I don't think I could skip this. Yeah, I can't skip this. So it's like it's just gonna show this, but you guys get the idea here. So let's we're not gonna show much gameplay here. Let me actually let's go here, close out Sackboy, because I gotta play more of it on my own time. But I could go right back into Crash Bandicoot, and I believe it'll bring me back up to the same spot that I had, or it's gonna start the game over. No, it's gonna start the game over again. Okay, so you could suspend, I think you could suspend multiple games. I think it's up to maybe 2, I'm not so sure, but like, we did it for 3 just now, so maybe that's a limit there. I bet you if I go back, maybe back to Sackboy, you'll be back in that same spot. Maybe, not sure. Let's try that. Let's actually try that. Play. Okay, so no, there's no resume feature. Like, it'll just play like that. So you could jump between the games pretty smoothly. But I remember them talking about how, like, you could actually, like, suspend a game and then just go into here. I know that that was also a thing for, what's it called? That was a thing on Xbox Series X, I know, at one point as well. But, yeah, so there you go. Those are some of the different features. Like, Astro's Playroom, I haven't really messed with like that, so there's not really much for me to say on it. But that's another game that shows, like, you know, a lot of the different features with the DualSense controller and things of that nature. So, anyway, and then obviously the PSN store looks cleaner, much nicer, not much to say there. Get you all your sales and the whole 9. Okay, so that's going to do it for my look at the PlayStation 5, man. So, yeah, I'm really digging it. I'm liking it so far. I can't wait to start doing more content on PlayStation 5 games. Like, there's some big PS5 games that I'm waiting on that I want to play so bad that maybe I'll do reviews on them. Maybe I'll do JJ's First 20 videos on them. Like, Ratchet and Clank is going to be a big one. Some people, I'm pretty sure, are going to want me to do Demon Souls. I'm not so certain if I really want to play that, because you guys know how I feel about the Souls games. And there's others that are coming down the line. And then, obviously, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, you know, to do the DLC. Maybe I'll do a playthrough of that when that finally is out. But anyway, let me know your thoughts about all this stuff with PlayStation 5 down in the comment section below. Tell me some of your favorite PS5 games that you want to play, or some of your favorite features of the PS5, or anything else related to it. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will talk to all of you again very soon.